Do you ever find yourself comforting a friend through tears and then collapse into exhaustion, wondering why you feel worse than they do? That's the paradox of empathy masks. When your caring heart absorbs someone else's pain so deeply it backfires, leaving you drained, anxious, or even resentful. In this video, we'll uncover why empathy, hailed as our greatest gift for connection, can sometimes become a hidden threat to your well-being. First, we'll define three faces of empathy: affective empathy, cognitive empathy, and compassionate empathy, using the metaphor of a sponge that soaks up emotions, a mirror that reflects thoughts, and a bridge that carries you into helpful action. Then, we'll explore the neuroscience of mirror neurons and the emotional contagion circuit, revealing how your brain can mistake another's suffering for your own. Finally, we'll preview a practical toolkit of boundary-setting techniques, self-regulation exercises, and mindful reorientation that will help you transform overwhelming compassion into resilient care. By the end of this video, you'll understand how to wear empathy like a well-fitted mask, protecting yourself while still offering genuine support, and why that balance is essential for healthy relationships and sustainable kindness. Effective empathy is like wearing an emotional sponge. You soak up another person's joy or pain so deeply that their heartbreak can feel like your own, often triggering your insula and anterior cingulate cortex to mirror their distress. Cognitive empathy, by contrast, works like a clear mirror, reflecting someone's thoughts and intentions without absorbing the emotional weight. Your temporoparietal junction lights up as you mentally step into their shoes and see their perspective. Compassionate empathy then acts as a sturdy bridge connecting your heart to theirs, motivating you to help, and engages your medial prefrontal cortex and oxytocin circuits to transform understanding into action. Neuroscience reveals that mirror neurons in your premotor cortex fire both when you perform an action and when you observe someone else performing it, creating automatic emotional resonance. This is why you cringe when you see someone stub their toe or burst into tears alongside a friend. Emotional contagion circuits, fueled by pathways between the amygdala and limbic system, amplify this resonance, so you end up caring deeply but risk personal burnout if you lack boundaries. Understanding these three empathy modes and their neural roots is crucial, because while effective empathy draws you closer, it can overwhelm you. Cognitive empathy gives clarity, but without the warmth of connection. And compassionate empathy offers the most balanced path, if you learn to engage it without bypassing your own self-care. In the next segment, we'll explore how to harness compassionate empathy as your guiding principle, using practical tools to set emotional boundaries and transform raw compassion into sustainable support. When you're caught in the grip of effective empathy, soaked in another's anguish, you may feel compelled to fix everything, yet end up exhausted and helpless, because your brain's threat system lights up as if you're facing the trauma yourself, flooding your body with cortisol and adrenaline. Over time, this empathic overdrive leads to compassion fatigue, a state where caring feels like a burden, and you may start to withdraw or even lash out in frustration, not because you've lost your heart, but because your nervous system is overwhelmed. Cognitive empathy alone can steer you clear of emotional burnout, but without the warmth of compassion, it risks turning you into a detached observer, unable to offer the heartfelt support people truly need. The sweet spot, compassionate empathy, relies on self-other distinction, a psychological boundary that uses your prefrontal cortex to recognize, this pain belongs to them, not me, while still activating your oxytocin-driven care circuits. Philosophers like Kant spoke of practical love, the kind of action rooted in respect rather than sentimental smothering, and neuroscience now confirms that compassionate empathy engages distinct regulatory pathways in the anterior insula, helping you stay present without being consumed. In the next segment, you'll learn a three-step toolkit: emotional boundary setting, compassionate reframing, and self-replenishment rituals, to help you guard your well-being while maintaining genuine connection, so your empathy becomes a sustainable gift rather than a hidden trap. Begin by mastering emotional boundary setting, the first step in your sustainable empathy toolkit. Imagine your empathy as a radio dial. You can tune into another's frequency without blasting their distress through your own speakers. To practice, start with a brief self-other pause. When you notice intense emotions arise, take a slow inhale and silently state, "This feeling belongs to them, not me." Envision a transparent barrier around your heart, permeable to understanding but resilient against emotional overflow. Next, label the emotion you're picking up with a simple phrase like, "I notice sadness," or "I sense anger." Then add, "I observe it, but I am not it." This cognitive tagging engages your prefrontal cortex, reinforcing self-other distinction and preventing the raw, affective resonance from hijacking your nervous system. Finally, perform a quick grounding gesture, a gentle hand over your chest or feet firmly planted, anchoring you back in your own body and reminding your amygdala that you are safe. With these 3 micro moves, you establish a clear emotional border that allows you to empathize deeply without absorbing another's pain, setting the stage for the next toolkit step, compassionate reframing. Compassionate reframing is the second tool in your empathy mask toolkit, transforming raw emotional resonance into constructive caring. Imagine your empathy sponge now filtering out harmful oversaturation, leaving only clear, actionable compassion droplets. When you notice your emotional boundary holding, pause and intentionally reframe your internal dialogue. Replace "I feel their pain" with "I understand their struggle, and I can help." Ask yourself, what is one practical step I can offer, rather than becoming mired in shared distress? For example, if a colleague is overwhelmed by a deadline, instead of dwelling on their anxiety, you might say, "I see how stressful this is. Would it help if I reviewed your draft or brainstormed solutions with you?" This shift engages your dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, activating problem-solving circuits rather than the limbic system's distress loop. To practice, use the action intent exercise. Whenever someone shares a hardship, take 2 seconds to silently generate one small supportive action, an encouraging message, a resource link, or simply a follow-up check-in, and notice how your emotional charge lightens as you move toward helpfulness. By focusing on compassionate reframing, you honor others' experiences without absorbing them, guiding empathy through the bridge of constructive support. Next, we'll explore self-replenishment rituals to ensure you refill your own cup and sustain this balanced way of caring over the long haul. Self-replenishment rituals form the third pillar of your empathy toolkit, ensuring that you refill your own emotional reserves before extending care to others. Think of yourself as a lifeguard. You can't rescue someone from drowning if you're running out of breath. Start with the compassionate pause. After every intense conversation, take 30 seconds to place a hand on your heart, breathe deeply, and mentally acknowledge, "I did my best to help." This practice engages your vagal tone, calming your nervous system and signaling safety to your brain. Next, schedule brief refill moments throughout your day. 2-minute breaks where you intentionally do something that uplifts you, like listening to a favorite song, stretching, or recalling a comforting memory. These micro-rituals activate your brain's reward pathways, releasing small doses of dopamine and oxytocin to counterbalance empathic strain. Finally, incorporate a weekly self-kindness check-in. Set aside 10 minutes to journal 3 ways you supported yourself this week, celebrating even minor acts of self-care. By externalizing these reflections, you strengthen neural circuits of self-compassion and resilience. Through compassionate pauses, refill moments, and self-kindness check-ins, you protect your well-being so you can continue to offer genuine support to others without sacrificing your own emotional health. By now, you've discovered how empathy wears 3 distinct masks, soaking up emotion like a sponge, reflecting thoughts like a mirror, and bridging hearts into action, and why unguarded affective empathy can overwhelm your nervous system while pure cognitive empathy risks leaving you disconnected. With emotional boundary setting, you learn to tune your empathy dial so you engage without absorbing. Through compassionate reframing, you transformed raw resonance into helpful action. And with self-replenishment rituals, you built a sustainable practice of self-care that refills your reserves. Remember, true compassion isn't about endless sacrifice, but about offering your best self from a place of inner strength. As you move forward, weave these tools into your daily interactions. Pause to distinguish self from other, reframe distress into practical support, and replenish your own well-being before extending a hand. When you strike that balance, empathy becomes not a hidden trap but a powerful gift, one that nurtures both you and those you care for. If this toolkit resonated with you, please like this video, share it with someone who gives too much of themselves, and subscribe to Mind Unlocked for more evidence-based strategies that help you think, feel, and care with clarity and resilience.